As we all know, tensions have been building in our city. These are external tensions that come to our building. And I want to continue to urge our community to continue to collaborate with us. Work with us to make sure our children are safe so that they can become successful contributing members of society. This is what it's all about. I cannot give enough kudos to all of the first responders who came today to assist. First responders from the city, first responders from the county, our SROs, our campus resource officers were amazing. And our staff, the teachers and staff at Peoria High were unbelievable. They were all helping at every available moment, and everyone did an amazing job. I've also asked our police chief, our new police chief, Echeverria, to be with us today, to be with me today. He just started this new job not too long ago and has done a fantastic job. And during all this melee, he was actually in the middle directing traffic along with all of his other police officers. So thank you, police chief. We actually were friends before he came to Peoria. This is serious. This is very, very serious what happened today, and actually truly unacceptable. I am so disappointed and so saddened. We do have a plan for Monday to prevent this from happening again. We will have multiple layers of safety measures in place starting Monday. Those who've already, we have some individuals who have been identified, and there's still quite a bit that are being identified. All of these individuals who were arrested or caused the disruption will not be able to attend Peoria High for the rest of the year. And the process has already begun. We will be speaking to every individual involved today, everyone, to make sure we'll be speaking with everyone involved today to make sure that this is thoroughly vetted and to ensure every aspect of safety. I want our parents and our community to be assured that we do have a safe plan for Monday and thereafter. We have increased staffing at the building. The flow of traffic during the school day for lunches and hallway will continue to be emphasized. Students, when school started in August, early August, we started wanding every kid at every one of our high schools at the start of the day before they get into the building. We will definitely continue to do that. This has been in place again since the start of the school year and will continue. And also, any non-student that got involved today will face trespassing charges, and they will be banned from coming to our buildings. As it relates to our football games today, Manual and Peoria High and Richwoods and Danville, we want to ensure the utmost safety at our events. So, the Peoria High Manual game has been rescheduled to 9 o'clock on Sunday. There will be no crowd, no cars in the parking lots. And also, as a precautionary measure, we're also going to reschedule the Richwoods game against Danville for noon tomorrow, which will be Saturday. Thank you. Absolutely.
I mean, I spoke with a bunch of students today, and they've been saying, this fight's been going on since they've been back in school, and they said the only solution, to get these fights not happening here would be for them to go today was horrific.
Yes. And thank you for asking the question regarding the online option. It is an available option right now. And so those children who are interested in that option, we have Principal Coleman right here with me. Come closer, Principal Coleman. They can notify their principal and we'll make that happen for sure.
And when you say multiple safety measures for Monday, does that mean more officers, more, what does that kind of entail?
Yeah, you're going to take that one? Okay. I'll take it, and you can add to it. Definitely more supports, more security supports. I mentioned we're going to adjust the lunch flow in terms of limiting traffic, the wanding, and
as Dr. Karat mentioned, we have identified or are working to identify those students, and we're also going to be having certain students not in our building that cause these problems. So that's one of our biggest safety measures, is making sure those students aren't here. But as she mentioned, we'll have our staff in areas that we typically don't, and we also are going to wand. Lunches have changed. We've changed how that's going to be done. So we've made some changes as a result.
And so, yeah, in a nutshell, removing really the disruptors, the troublemakers, and then monitoring lunches, locking that down, and then adding additional support staff.
Dr. Pratt, one student today mentioned that there was a rumor that somebody had a gun. Is there any evidence that there was a gun?
We have our police chief with us, and he can talk about that.
And so this is an ongoing investigation. It's obviously something that was all hands on deck, like Dr. Karat stated. Myself, along with the rest of my command staff that was at work today, was on scene for this event. It's an unfortunate event. There's just some things that we're still working through. We're still gathering evidence. We're still talking to witnesses, victims, and suspects of this incident. We have adults and juveniles in custody at this point. So at this point, we don't have any other information that we're going to share about this investigation. So we ask those that are watching this that if you have any further information, or if you're a witness to something, there was a lot of cameras out there, a lot of phones. If you have video, or if you have some information that we need to have at the Peoria Police Department, please forward that to us.
How many individuals do you have?
I don't have a count for you at this moment.
When you were talking about the ongoing things in the community that are kind of culminating in the school, can you share what those are?
At this point, we're not going to share that. These are things that we are going to continue to work with the district on. We will be sharing information with the district on what we find and what we believe are some of the internal and external issues that are causing this. And we're going to be here to work collectively with the district in whatever they need. We will have officers around the schools, extra patrols. This evening, we will have more officers on the street. Officers that were tasked to work those football games are not sent back home. We're going to have more staff out on the streets based on the information that we have and based on this incident that occurred. We also will see, you should also see more officers out during the week in and around the schools also. And again, we'll be working with Chief Boone and his staff to make sure that our children here in our community are safe as they come to school and go home.
I don't know if you're the one to answer this, but I was told that there was a fire alarm that was wrong. Was this fire alarm wrong to signify the start of the fight, or were there fights happening and someone rung it to let people know that there were brawls?
I don't know if anybody has that information at this point. Like I said, I think that is part of this investigation as to how things started, when did it occur, the timeline of events, and those are things that we'll be looking into and we'll be sharing with the district so they can make the moves that they need to make internally.
Is there evidence that this was a planned event, or was it spontaneous?
Again, we're still in the beginning stages of this investigation. Again, it was a chaotic scene, to say the least. If you have chiefs and captains and lieutenants and other outside agencies there, it kind of gives you the magnitude of how serious we take this. So at this point, we're going to continue to investigate. We had to take the kids and the adults off the scene to kind of slow things down and then figure out who's who was a juvenile, who was an adult, separate them before we could even get them to the station. So that was a process in itself. And now that we are at the police department, we are going to work through all the details, work with Chief Boone and his staff, work with Dr. Karat and her staff to make sure that we're all on the same page on what's going on and who the players were.
And Dr. Pratt, will these students be facing expulsion or just suspension or have a concussion?
One thing we know, they will not be back at Peoria High. So there are lots of options, but they will not be back. And from day one, we've been announcing at the high schools, if you disrupt, if you fight, you will not be back. And I want to make that, I want to send a very clear message, right? We have too many adults, caring adults, so many supports in place. We know we are human beings. We know there are tension. We know that. We know there are disagreements. And those things are actually normal, but it's how we deal with them. And what I'm seeing, I don't like it. It's hatred. It's violence. It is very, very, very disappointing. We tell kids, something happened to you, someone is doing something, find an adult. There are over 100 amazing adults to help. Do not take actions into your own hands. Because if you do, and the environment is disrupted, and this was, all of us have said, we have never seen anything like this before, ever, right? And so there will be consequences.
Were any school staff, police officers, resource officers, was anyone injured from this incident?
I'm not aware of any injuries.
And do you have anything to say for students, football players, coaching staff that kind of have to face consequences tonight?
Yeah, and I've heard that, and I know a lot of, some individuals are disappointed that the football games had to be postponed, but when everything is said and done, it's, as I said, it's for the utmost safety. When you're hearing grumblings about, we're going to do this, we're going to continue to do that, we had to make the decision to protect our students. And so, as I said, Richwoods and Richwoods and Danville will play tomorrow at noon. There will be no fans, and so they will still get to play. But we want to ensure that they're safe, and Manual and Peoria High will play on Monday. That's correct. Richwoods and Danville game will be without spectators tomorrow at noon.
I mean, fights have kind of been going on since you guys have been back in person, obviously not to this magnitude, but why wasn't there already safety measures with more people here, whatever you guys are going to implement Monday? Why was that not already taken?
You know, and actually I've been thinking about that. We started off, we had such an amazing staff. Remember we talked about in 2015 when I started, we had 79 openings, teacher openings. This year, we were able to get that down to 5. Buildings are fully staffed. We were administration, and we were getting into classrooms, providing lots of supports. I was feeling, you know, it was a great feeling in terms of the organization, being responsive. I mean, the work is difficult, right? And it's hard, but just the progress that we've made this year with COVID numbers, down significantly, less than 2%, if not less, and so I wouldn't say that you've had fights throughout the, you know, so not really, honestly. I mean, just your typical scuffle here and there, but nothing like that. I mean, Peoria High, they have, and Richwoods and Manual and all of the schools really, honestly, have been off to a great start this year compared to my previous 6 years, primarily because of the staffing. I think that made a big difference. So, you know, we know people are suffering, we know people are hurting. You know, the impacts of COVID, we can feel it, we can see it. We work very hard as a district and our board to be responsive, to put out fires, to talk to kids, to provide supports. You see our director of social emotional, he's there. We're doing a lot with the wraparound center, from providing food to counseling. We have a number, we invest over $6 million just in social emotional supports. We're doing a lot, right? Our SROs, Director Boone, they work hard every day. And so I would say this is just really shocking and just unusual. We don't know, I'm like, where did this come from and why?
Did you blame the break last year in schooling?
There have been some comments about the impacts of COVID. I think Sergeant Michi mentioned that, not able to have their summers, not able to do different things, and it's just erupting and exploding. But it could be a myriad of things. You know, adverse childhood experiences, trauma, lots of trauma, a lot of trauma in our community.
Chief Peoria, has there been any reports of these fights after it was kind of dispersed in this neighborhood, that there was fights continuing in other areas in Peoria that may involve some of the individuals here today?
I think once we took control at the school, obviously with the assistance of the school, their staff, the chief and his staff, and the outside agencies, pretty much everybody kind of went on their way. I think we had to get those instigators and the parents of those instigators and the adults that were out there instigating out of the way. We were able to get things a little bit more calmed down and take some control.
When police arrived on campus, what exactly did they do?
I wasn't there for the initial response. I came from my office. I was in another meeting. I haven't had a chance. Again, it was a chaotic scene. You know, sometimes protocol goes out the window at a moment where you're surrounded by adults and irate people running in all directions and not knowing what they're doing. So sometimes it's off the cuff at the moment when you have a crowd that's out of control. And really getting officers on scene. Like was said earlier, there was officers from everywhere coming. And it took a while to even get vehicles there to get people off of the scene. So it was a very chaotic scene.
But there were arrests made on the scene?
Yes.
Were there any, force, pepper spray, bullets, things like that?
There was no bullets. Nobody was shot. There was some other pepper balls were deployed on scene, and I don't know what else may have been used, if there was anything else, but at this point we're still looking at everything and trying to figure out what happened throughout that scene.
Were there rubber bullets? You had reports or something like that, or maybe those were the
Yeah, there's no rubber bullets. No rubber bullets. No pepper balls is what I seen that were deployed out there. A lot of us, including me, were coughing because of it. But yes, so there were some pepper balls that were used to disperse crowds.
Yeah, and I have a message for our parents, a huge message for our parents. You know, they're their kids' first teachers, and when there are situations, we would like parents not to egg kids on, not to encourage them to fight. That's a big part of that as well. So parents, you know, problem solve. Let's problem solve together, because the fighting, it's not a solution. It's not going to improve anything. It's going to make things worse. And so the message is, don't egg the kids on to fight each other. That has to stop. That needs to stop. And a lot of that is going on.
And Dr. Crowell, what was the notification process like for parents? I saw some trying to pick up their children, things of that sort. Kind of when were they notified? What was that notification process like that school was out? Things of that?
Yeah, so we at about 12:30 sent a notification out that there were, due to lots of disruptions, we were dismissing early, and so we sent out the buses and we asked parents to pick kids up, because we knew after the fire alarm was pulled and they were out, there was just so much disruption and I would say agitation and anxiety that there was no learning that was going to continue for the next hour and a half. And so the decision was made to dismiss early and ask parents to pick up, and we transported kids home as well.
So the official dismissal was 12:30?
12:30, right? About, yeah, 12:30, yes, 12:30.
And dismissal is normally at 2.
And dismissal is normally at 2.
We are, as mentioned earlier, we are still looking into this. So right now, at this time, I can't really identify. We are trying to figure all that out right now. So as we get more information, we'll have that.
And just one more time so I make sure I have it. Can you just go again with the athletic events, which days, which team, and who will have fans, who won't, that kind of thing?
Thank you. So tomorrow, Richwoods at noon and they're playing Danville. Again, no spectators at all. And Manual and Peoria High will be Monday at Sunday. I'm sorry, Sunday at 9. Right? No spectators at the stadium either. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. So Manual and Peoria High Sunday at 9. No spectators.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming.